Hey guys, welcome back to the All Star Boxing Podcast. This episode is brought to you by VBR Lawyers, one of Queensland's leading personal injury law firms. They have offices all over the place. They've got one in Brisbane City CBD, Corinda at the Brisbane West, and at Burleigh Heads on the Gold Coast. My good friend Greg Black, he manages the one in Brisbane CBD. So, if you've been injured at work or on the road and need a high quality lawyer who is focused on achieving you the best results while keeping legal costs down, please contact Greg and his team at VBR Lawyers. All right, guys, welcome back to the All Star Boxing Podcast. I'm going to leave that in there. This is episode 11, okay? So I've got a really cool special guest. I've been waiting for this one because of his story. So he has a record of 13 wins, 2 losses, and only 1 draw. He is the current Queensland champion, 3-time Australian champion, and the IBF Asia Oceania champion. Not only does he have an impressive professional boxing career, but he also served 7 years in the Royal Australian Army. Spent 6 months in East Timor and 8 months in Afghanistan. So his professional boxing career only started in 2016 and only 4 months after his discharge. So the one and only Justin the Iceman Forrest. So thanks for coming in, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And interesting story because we'll go with the boxing.
Yeah.
So you didn't have an amateur background?
No amateur background.
No amateur background. So
Yeah.
how did you even think about like just boxing?
Well, when I say no amateur background, I still was in the gym. I was a gym rat since I was 16, 17.
Sparring and
Yeah,
doing all
sparring.
that?
Yeah, I've sparred everyone. I just never had any amateur fights boxing. The reason being I was obviously in the army and I had a job to do and I was busy. I was away a lot. So I couldn't really fight, but I was always in the gym. Whenever I had spare time, I was in there training and learning. And that was my passion. That was my hobby. So my downtime outside of work, you know. So I got quite good at it. And that was the one thing I loved. So when I decided my time was up in the army, that was the only other thing I wanted to do. So I grabbed it with both hands and tackled it. And here we are.
And then, just went straight to pro.
Yeah, so not even that. It's like I said there. I was in Afghanistan for 8 months, 2015 to January or February 2016. So I discharged in April, just after I got back, and so I didn't even train any boxing. Didn't have a gym, nothing like that, for the 8 months I was there. You know, so I got back with no training, and I just I smashed the gym for 3-4 months and had my pro debut, and then went all the way up till now with the Queensland titles and the Australian titles. So it's I don't want to say it's not lucky. I worked my ass off to do it. I feel like I worked extra hard because one, I didn't have the amateur background, and two, I didn't even train for like eight months or even longer, probably a year, because we had to do training before going to Afghanistan where I was away a lot. So it was almost a year of no training boxing at all. Just maybe shadow sparring and shadow boxing here and there, but nothing really at all. And I got back into country, into Australia, and hit the gym. And I said, get me a fight ASAP. And my first fight was Mark Ramirez, who had, I think he was having his 20th professional fight when I was having a debut. So,
and so he's been around.
Yeah, so
he's been around,
and obviously I was a nobody. No one knew really who I was. A couple of people knew who I was just from the gym and bringing boys to spar me. I remember Chris McCullum would bring guys to spar me and say to me, "Frosty, you're pretty good. Like you got good footwork," and I'd spar some of the guys that he would have. So a couple of people knew who I was, but I think I made my debut against someone who had experience. And I kind of started getting a little name for myself, and then it just went from there.
Yeah, nice. And it's like, who was this guy fighting? Because imagine them, on his pro debut fighting someone that had 20, 30 fights at the time. Yeah. And you won. That would have been a 6 rounder, 4 rounder.
5 rounder.
5 rounder,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But boxing. And
Yeah,
the
boxing.
interesting thing is, like, so when me and Liam spar you, we've had boxing background.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
had all those amateur fights. And it's still a bit of a chess match.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to actually have some, not saying that you're not intelligent, but having some sporting intelligence when we're sparring, we're actually playing a game of chess in there, that's come from you just naturally doing it.
Yeah, it's just come from the gym and sparring, but it's from sparring guys like you. You know, it's it's almost like I've taken the experience that everyone else has from the amateurs,
Nice.
and I've taken that from the sparring. You know, not much changes apart from the headgear and the size of the gloves and whatnot. Not much really changes.
Yeah,
So you
nice.
kind of know. I feel like you know your level from sparring.
Yeah. It sounds like you just had a target, because we're going to the army later on, but when you discharged, is it like, what do I do now?
Yeah. So, well, that's the thing. I tackled boxing full of confidence and ambition and everything, because I knew that if I failed, well, I had nothing else, or what then? I knew I had to give it 100%, 110%. I always had that in the back of my brain, that I left like a very stable and, a very stable career in the military, and for what? I didn't have any money coming in. I had no name, had no amateur background, had no money when I was fighting. So I knew I had to give it everything and had to prove to people who I was and build my name up. And it was tough. It was tough for a good few years. But I just had that vision. I had that dream. I'd go to sleep every night thinking about it, and that's all I could think about. So I was
Yeah,
like, well, I don't want to, like I said before, I don't want to get to a certain age in my life and have regret. So I'm living my life now regret-free.
Yeah, nice. Best way to be, because we can just do this, learn along the way, enjoy and we were talking before the camera started rolling, but just living life on our terms. But like you said, you don't want to reach an age and think, oh, I should have done this, should have done that. That's why I came back to the sport. So I walked away from the Darryl Foley fight, and I lost the love of the sport, went away, just lived life and enjoyed it, but I still had that niggly feeling of like, I was still good.
Yeah.
I left at whatever it was, age 25, age 26, came back, 4 years off, and then decided to come back. I just had this feeling of like, nah, there's unfinished business. And then same thing, I'm in the same position. I just have to maximize this now. Maximize this, take every opportunity as I can, because I'm getting older. Like, this is going to end one day.
Yeah.
So what all this is about. Subscribe, So like,
For me, this and this is my that's like you was just saying. This is my second life too. So I didn't turn pro until I was 26 years old. Like you said, you'd had all this amateur and professional career, before you were even 26. I didn't turn pro until 26.
Yeah.
So that, like you said, age it's just, I don't know. People have this stigma about the age, but
Yeah.
I feel like you're only as old as you feel. So it's tough, but I knew I had that age on me as well, where I was coming in with all these things against me, and age was one of them as well. So
And going into a professional sporting career change, you've lived a fitness life within the army. So the wake ups, doing what you have to do, getting the work done, the mental discipline, that would have all transferred into the boxing life.
yeah, I think
As
so.
well,
Yeah. People ask me this stuff all the time, but one of my answers recently is that I don't really know any different, if that makes sense. So I joined the army when I was a teenager, and I don't know what life would be like if I didn't do that. So all the things that I've experienced in the army, I can only go off, hearsay, what it would be like if I didn't do that, and what other people's experiences are. But my experiences are my experiences, and that's all I know. So I don't feel like I take all these things in that. I mean, I guess I do. I say that I do, but I don't really feel the difference, because I don't know what it was like to not do what I did in the army. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah.
But I don't go into the ring, or I don't go into training camp or anything thinking, I've done all this other stuff, so I've got an edge or something. Because I don't really think like that. I just think that
It's just the same thing, just carries on.
Yeah, it just life just goes on, and that's just my path.
Yeah. So I went through your record, and same thing. Like, no boxing experience, and then your fourth fight you had Jesse Travers.
Yes.
So the Travers family, shout out to the Travers family. So they're a boxing family.
Yeah. Yeah.
All amateur backgrounds,
Yeah.
like lived and breathed boxing, and then for you to have a split decision win over Jesse Travers, I'm like, wow. Again, there goes to show you don't need all this experience.
Yeah. And I remember that being a challenge, and I remember my promoter at the time, still my promoter, Angelo DiCarlo. I remember him stepping me up, with a challenge, because he obviously knew I had boxing talent and skills. And I remember him stepping me up and being a little nervous that will I be able to perform and will I be able to box against someone who's had 80 odd amateur fights, And I proved I did. So they kept stepping me up. And you'd see there when I first won the Australian title was against an Olympian as well.
Yeah, Jackson Woods.
Yeah. Who was undefeated as a pro and
So
had power and whatnot. And once again, it was the same thing. It was the same feeling of, I think I might have been the underdog maybe for that. I'm not sure. But I remember there was a lot of doubters because he had the pedigree of being an Olympian and whatnot and the experience. And once again, I proved myself with a decision. So, yeah.
Wow.
It is a little crazy when you think about it, because if I was looking at a kid that, or not even a kid, but even a man that was me, if I was looking out and seen that, I'd probably be a doubter too. How can you not? It's a bit of a crazy story, like you said.
Yeah.
But I did it.
And I guess that was that's your journey, and to be able to show up and show yourself, show everyone that you can perform and overcome more. Like you feel like you're fighting more than one person because you've got everyone else on their side and all those doubters and whatnot. And not that that's our fuel and motivation, but the feeling of achievement and being able to do things when you haven't had that background.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. And, looking at your career and we've had our sparring and all of that, and I still have, I still struggle sometimes with it,
Yeah.
So, again, when I'm sparring you, I think, this guy hasn't only had 13, 14 fights, There's more. He's been fighting over in Afghanistan, So you haven't over there.
But that's the thing. It's it starts off as a negative, but then when I prove myself, it turns around and becomes a positive because people I know there's other coaches and stuff out there that have a lot of respect for me because I didn't have the amateur background. So now that I've kind of got a name for myself, it's a good thing. I'm kind of known for not having an amateur background and having boxing skill.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a struggle for the first few years until you prove yourself. But now it's kind of, I like that. I like having that trait,
Yeah. And while we're still on the topic of boxing, your first loss, Waylon Law. So how did you take that?
I didn't take it very well. To be honest, when the bell went and the fight was over, I thought I'd won the fight. I wasn't really, I didn't think I was going to lose. Obviously, when I've watched it back, I can see how the judges have given it to him. But it was still obviously a very close fight, which is why it turned into a trilogy. But I didn't take it very well. No, sorry. I did take it well. I just, my insides were eating me up. I didn't think I should have lost. I thought I still was the better boxer and the better fighter. Which is I got to prove that, but it was hard. But I took it in a way where, I ran the adversity into the ground and just bust my ass even more. I said, well, I wasn't good enough. I need to be better. I didn't kind of shy away from it and go and have my head down and I'm not good. I'm not good enough. I didn't do that. I said, well, I'm gonna get better. I got to figure it out. And I took that attitude.
When I watched the rematch, you dominated. It was a different fight.
Yeah.
So again, that loss brought upon a new transformation.
It was like you said, the intelligence of boxing too. I do have that intelligence where I went away and studied the tape, and me and Alfie sat down and said, what didn't I do good? What did I do good? What didn't I do well? And I fixed the things I didn't do well. Completely fixed it. And there was like pockets where I didn't throw punches. I didn't throw enough punches. I wasn't very active. So if you watch the second fight, you'll see me come out in the first round and just start throwing, and I didn't stop for 10 rounds. And it was kind of insane. Like I was very, very fit for that fight because I knew how many punches I had to throw.
Yeah.
Because I tell you the hardest thing about the Waylon fights, all three of them, it wasn't the skill side of things that was hard. It was his will to win. And that's what people don't see on the outside of, a fight. They don't understand you know when you fight someone how bad they want to win, or you feel that that presence. And I felt that from him, that he was not just going to let me win, you know, where I've felt that with other people, where I've hit them with a good shot to the body or head, and then they kind of cower away like, oh no, this guy's better than me. Waylon never did that. No matter how hard I hit him, no matter how much I won a round, he came back out the next round like, I'm going to try and win still. And I felt that. I was like, man, this guy won't go away. Just all heart, you know. And that's the hardest guy to beat. It doesn't matter about skill. That's the hardest kind of guy to beat.
Just that will to win.
The will to win, yeah.
And you felt that in the first fight?
Yeah, I felt that every fight, all of them, yeah. Even the third fight where I was clearly dominating and I had him like hurt and dazed and not all there, he still just wouldn't go away, you know?
And that's that fight mentality, that's that competitiveness, and that's what brings the best out of the both of you, all fights, you know? And this boxing game is just a ladder. It gets harder and harder and harder. It's like a video game. Bosses at the top, you know, world championship, you know. Yeah. But and this a lot of people see the glitz and the glamour, but there's so much that goes behind the scenes and so much psychological kind of rehearsal that goes into this, and just our own emotions that we have to overcome before we even get in there. So we have to fight a lot of battles before we even have the main battle. So now I'm just looking at your record and it's impressive. And then, so I watched the Blake Minto loss. This is another loss that he had. And, you know, all of us were like, nah, man, this is Justin's fight and blah, blah, blah. And you were in our multi and all of that, you know. And then same thing, he must have had that will to win, but he looked a bit, that was above super lightweight.
Yeah.
Was that heavier?
Yeah, there was a welterweight fight.
Yeah. So he's obviously heavier than you.
No, there was a few problems with that. I got the phone call that he wasn't able to make weight on the weigh-in day.
Yeah.
I got the phone call saying stop making weight. You only have to make 64, or was it 64?
Catch weight or something?
Yeah, it was catch weight. I don't know what the actual story was. I don't really know the truth. I just know that I was cutting weight and I got told to stop.
Okay.
But
on the weigh-in day.
On the weigh-in day, while I was doing it. But that was different. That was a different disappointment, like compared to the Waylon one, because first of all, the Waylon fight I thought I won, and then I immediately had a chance to redeem myself, which was exciting. But with the Minto fight, I feel like I lost that fight. I let myself down the way I entered the ring. I hate talking about it because the only thing I can talk about is excuses as to why. But I guess people do want to know, but I did have a lot of problems in that camp. There was weight issues and there was injury issues. My hand, there was plenty of issues, and I didn't enter the ring in the best shape. So that one hurt a lot more because I let myself down. I either shouldn't have taken that fight, or I should have come in much more prepared, and I didn't. So, which is why the last time I entered the ring was to redeem myself for that, and it wasn't against Blake, but it was just for the people to see and remember that I can still, I'm still at this level.
Yep.
So that's what it was for. But
show goes on.
The show goes on.
And through our career, fight after fight, we take away different lessons and things to do, not to do next time. And for you saying you didn't go and prepared, it probably shifted something within you to now be like, nah, look, it's on your terms now.
Yeah.
When you feel good, when you feel ready, when you're 100%, then we can go in there and do the business. But
yeah, so I made sure when I fought Dean Thomas, I made sure there was no excuses. So then I made sure there was no excuses, so then I wouldn't lose. And I always believe that. I believe if I'm in my best shape and there's no problems, that I can beat anyone on any given day. I guess that might be like, anyone at this level might feel like that as well. I still believe if I fought Blake again and I was at my best, I can win. But it doesn't matter because you only get that one night, and that's the tough thing about this sport. It's so tough. You don't get to go, I was off this night, I'll do it next week. You don't get to do that. You have to sit and dwell on the loss for a long time.
So. And this is where, like, if we always want to come fully prepared. That's what a boxing camp is, and managing injuries and all of that. But the same thing, I want to make sure that I'm at my best, and if I lose, I can shake his hand and be like, look, you know what, you beat me at my best, you know. So, dude, I've had losses.
Yeah.
We're all gonna have them, you know. It's those freaks that can go through undefeated, and you know, sometimes it's those losses that really show you who you are. I've been down in the dumps. I've gone through those ups and downs, and it's interesting because my first loss with Darryl Foley compared to the Dana Corwell fight, I bounced back a bit quicker because I've been through that first kind of thing, and just managing my own emotions. And then with the Dana Corwell, I was like, fuck, you know, I had my excuses or reasons or whatever it is, and then that's never going to happen again. Ongoing. But I did bounce back because, you know, the show goes on. Like, this is the career that I chose.
Yeah, exactly.
I chose this. I put myself in this position. I get up every morning. I do this. I've got no one else to blame but myself because I'm in there, and you know, I make sure that I have to do all of this properly. So, and this is why we can connect with other fighters because we share the same journey.
Yeah. You have the same emotions, the same feelings. Yeah.
And we can actually relate. So,
but I always like to say it's not the. I've learned this, or I've developed this saying after the losses. It's not the setback; it's the comeback that matters. Because, like you said, after my 2 defeats, I feel like I've come back stronger. I've hit the gym harder. I've dieted properly. I've made sure I've gone to see the doctor about any nigglies, like all the little 1%ers that people talk about. It's very easy to get complacent when you win. It's always my 2 losses have been my biggest learning points and my biggest, you know, takeaways, and I've got better every single time. And the 3 Whalen fights is the best, you know, example of that, because everyone's seen that. And everyone's seen the change in a short period of time. Them fights were like back to back to back, and people seen the changes I made in my body, in my fitness, in my style. Everything changed, and that's why I said it's not about the setback, because, I mean, people know that I lost that first fight against Whalen, but they don't. That's not what they remember. They remember that I came back and won the trilogy. So,
and that's the stuff that when you're older, you can look back. And you kind of cleared that saga. Yeah,
exactly.
You've closed that chapter.
Yeah.
And you can put that to rest. Yeah. You know?
I remember I wasn't very enthusiastic at the start. I know for the rematch I was, but then for the third fight I wasn't. I was a little bit hesitant because I was kind of over it. I was kind of like, oh, this same guy again. I want to move forward. I want to go forward. And I'd already proved to everyone that I've beaten this guy. I can beat this guy. So the third one was a little bit, you know, but I still took it to that next level. I still went, okay, I've got to get rid of this guy for good. I've got to prove to everyone properly. I want to stop him,
and
I did. Yeah,
you did. So, you know, and look, all credit to you. Have you always been a Brisbane boy?
No, I'm from Perth originally.
Okay.
I left when I was 19 when I joined the army. Okay. So I've been over here ever since then.
Yeah. And you always wanted to join the army when you were a kid?
No, not really.
So what happened there?
Well, I just had no direction as a kid. I had no good role models and didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like a lot of kids, I was kind of lost, just in and out of different jobs and not really had no direction and no purpose in life. So my girlfriend at the time, her dad was ex-army. And he convinced me to join the army. He said, why don't you join the army, mate? It's good for you. But before that, I didn't even know what the army was. I didn't even know that was a possibility. I was just stuck in my little bubble of my suburb and didn't know what the big wide world had out there. So I'm very thankful that I met that guy and joined the army, because it was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, wow. So, what, you Google search, what do I do?
Yeah, he sat me, he said, come here, mate, and sat me on the computer and said, what do you want to do? And I read the description of infantry, which was, you know, an expert at all the different weapons and all that cool sounding stuff. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like me. So I signed my name away and started going through the processes and going to the interviews and whatnot, and then 6 months later I was in. I was on the plane and I was on the bus and they were shaving my head and I was like, what the hell is happening? It all happened really quick. Yeah, it happened.
Welcome to your new life, boy. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's good. I remember on the bus with everyone, all the new recruits. We're on the bus and we're pulling up to Kapuka for the first day, and we all had long hair and we were just like, you know, whatever, just scruffy people. And it was all exciting looking out the window. Oh, wow, we're here. This is going to be cool. This is going to be fun. And a sergeant steps on the bus and he's... it's like the movies, you know? He just starts screaming, all right, you maggots, off the bus. And we're just like, oh, shit, we're here. Yeah, we're here. And it just began.
Far out. And then, wow. So before we get into your trips overseas, what was your lifestyle like? So you lived on campus?
No, so I had a partner at early days in the army. I had a partner, so we had a house it was in Mitchelton, just around the corner from the Enoggera Barracks.
Oh, okay.
So it was good. I lived with her for a few years before we parted ways and broke up and stuff like that. But once we did break up, I did move on to the base for a little bit. Obviously, when you do your training, when you're doing, your initial...
When you lived in Enoggera, so it's like a work shift. You go there, do it, come back.
Yeah, if you're not away, it's basically like a 7:30 till 4 kind of job.
Okay.
Usually.
Yeah.
It's very unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to be doing each day, basically. But you do go away a lot. Probably as an infantryman, you go away probably 4 to 6 months of the year. And when I say away, I mean on exercises like sleeping on the floor in your sleeping bag and no phones and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you're kind of like separated from the real world a lot.
Wow.
But when you're on barracks, yeah, you just do like your 8-hour shift usually. You can get stabbed for Saturday and Sunday guard duties and stuff, which is like a 24-hour shift. And, it's very unpredictable. You can do a lot of different things when you're in the army.
Yeah, wow.
You work hard.
I stole some of your photos.
Oh, yeah?
It's like a TV show. All right. What is this? So explain this.
Oh, yeah. That was early days. That's early days in the army. Probably, I'm going to say 2011. I was only a young pup there. I was probably 21 years old. Wow. I think I'm the bottom right, am I? Bottom right?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, that was early days. So that was my section. We were 22 Bravo.
22 Bravo, yeah, that's the name. Wow.
So Bravo's Bravo Company. We're in 2 platoon, 2 section.
Wow.
But yeah, this was just a field exercise. This one, I think this was up in North Queensland somewhere.
Yeah. And what's
we
this
just
thing?
took a cool War-Dog. That's a Bushmaster. I was qualified to drive those as well.
Yeah.
They're just a troop carrier, but you have, guns out the top and all this different cool stuff, but it's mainly just a troop carrier.
Yeah, wow.
Sits 8 people in the back, 2 in the front.
And then driving and then boom.
Yeah, they're huge. Yeah, you just knock trees over and everything.
Wow.
They're good. They're comfy.
Where
there he is. He's only young there, 21.
Wow, so same time as that one?
Yeah, that was the same. That was right next to the other photo, I think.
But
I only had these photos sent to me recently. I hadn't seen these photos for 10 years. I didn't even know they existed.
Yeah, wow.
So that's why I posted it up, because I had a mate send them to me. I was like, where'd you get these?
Yeah,
because it was very uncool. It was very frowned upon to take photos. It wasn't something we thought about doing. It was we were too busy doing the job. And if you've seen someone taking a photo or a selfie, you'd kind of get bastardized a little bit. Like, what are you doing, idiot?
Okay.
Plus, it was Operation Security too. We weren't allowed to take photos of certain things and post them, and you get in trouble for that kind of stuff too. So it was I don't have too many photos. That's one of my biggest regrets in life, is not taking photos and videos of everything I did, because I did so much cool stuff and I don't have, evidence of it or footage of it. And that kills me a little bit.
Wow, and that's a big life, 7 years.
Yeah. That's
a big chunk of life that's like, can't really tap back into it, eh?
Nah.
This one here is a cool photo. It looks like a Halo mission or something.
That was our trip. We were on the AC-130 back from Afghanistan.
Wow.
That was all the boys. Job was done. We were tired, as you can see.
Dang. And so how long was the flight? You sit in that position for the whole trip?
That was only a few hours, maybe 2-3 hours. We went back to the UAE, back to Dubai, from Afghanistan to Dubai, so however long that takes.
Yeah, wow.
And then we get a normal plane from UAE.
And I saw this because of the background.
That's a cool one.
Where's that?
That's a War-Dog photo.
Yeah, that's cool.
Me and Hachi.
Wow.
That was in Afghanistan. We were on a mission. We were in the middle of a mission. We were protecting some guys in that building next to me.
Wow.
We had one guy in there. He was the guardian angel, just protect him. We were on comms with him, made sure everything was good. And we were just securing the outside of the building,
Just
made sure guarding it. Yeah.
Wow.
But this is in the middle of Afghanistan. Yeah, there's civilians everywhere, and
Did you hear gunshots and stuff? Is it
Yeah.
really that bad?
it is every single day. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's legit. It's a different
So
experience.
So you
You kind of get used to it though. It's weird that I say
That's
that.
true.
But
It becomes the new normal.
you hear gunshots or bombs going off, and you're just like, oh yeah, hopefully we can get home. Basically, is
Wow.
what the thought is, because if something happens like that, it's not that easy to get home. We kind of get stuck in the place if we're somewhere secure. We get told we can't really move over through here because it's dangerous or whatnot. So, but yeah,
Crazy. So, just that life alone in the army. Did you have how long in Afghanistan?
8 months. Yep.
Did you have a base, a place to like sleep, stay?
Yeah,
or was
so
it traveling?
we slept in. I stayed in a base in the middle of Kabul city, and I was in a room. And when I say room, we were in a shipping container. Have you ever been in a shipping container? Very
Yeah,
small.
wow. Yep.
There was 3 of us in that shipping container.
So what's in there? Bed.
Just beds, yeah, and there's a desk.
Yep.
So there's a bunk bed, and then there's another bed behind us against the wall, and then there's a desk, and we basically had to squeeze past each other if we want to walk through and stuff.
Yeah,
Tiny.
wow.
So I stayed in there for 8 months.
Yeah, wow.
So you get pretty, you get pretty used to the boys in there.
Yep, yep. And then so you're on campus, and then you'll be given tasks when to leave.
Yeah. So my job, different, different tours and different people do different missions depending on the time and what your job is. But I was on a job every single day. We were on tasks every day, pretty much every day. My mission was to go out and protect. We basically had to protect whoever we were tasked to protect, where they need to go. So maybe it'd be a politician, maybe it'd be like a high-ranking officer. We'd get the task come through that he needs to go to X, Y, and Z over here in Afghanistan, and we need to make sure he doesn't die. So that was our job. And so he would come over and we'd tell him, this is how we're going to get there, this is what happens if this happens, et cetera, and we'll take him there and we'll come back. And I'll do that every day.
Wow.
So yeah, it was different. Every day was different. You know,
Yeah,
we had
yep.
to come up with how we're going to get there, and everything. It was good.
Dang.
Kept it fresh and exciting.
Yeah, wow. Did you were you always heightened? You
Very.
always looking over your shoulder?
For the first few months, yeah, very, very heightened. Like eyes are always open. But I'll be honest, the last few months it's a bit of a dick drag. It's a bit of like, can we go home now? You know. So you get kind of complacent. And you get used to everywhere. You get used to like certain civilians and the roads, and it's almost like living in Brisbane. I was like, oh, this is my home. By the last month, you just feels like you live there.
Okay, yep.
So you get kind of complacent. But I feel the difference when I got back to Australia. I felt the sense of I was still heightened.
Yep.
And I needed to try and relax and stuff, you know?
Well, that's kind of like a form of PTSD or something.
Yeah,
When you're lived in a state of kind of stress and having to watch your back and having to carry a gun and protect your own life, when you come back, that stuff doesn't really
It doesn't
go
really
away.
ever go away, to be honest. I'm still like that a little bit now. You ask my housemate, I'm kind of like that all the time.
When you hear noises and stuff.
Yeah, there's just heaps of different scenarios that I'm, not just noises, but like I'm always kind of heightened or alert or aware of what's going on. Just, I don't know, I'm just always like that. Like if I go to a restaurant, I like to make sure I can see the door and stuff. I just do little things like that. I can't help it. I don't know.
Yeah, wow. And that would probably stay with you forever.
Probably, yeah.
That's that type of training and
But everyone's different, you know. Everyone takes the experience different too. Some people take it harder. Some people probably like whatever. But yeah, everyone takes it a little bit different.
was there ever a moment you were like scared, really scared?
Yeah, a couple
If you can
times.
share it, like something around that.
A couple of times. I won't go into specifics. I don't think that's appropriate. But yeah, a couple of times I've held my breath. Yeah,
Wow.
been a little bit scared. It's funny I say that out loud now because you don't really talk about that or say that, especially to your mates, or you kind of just know. You kind of have that feeling of everyone knows and has that same feeling, but no one really talks about it or brings it up. We kind of just make a joke or nudge each other like, you'll be right, you know, whatever. That's our way of coping, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
everything
yeah.
feels a lot better because you've got your family there with you. Your mates are your family. So everything's de-escalated a lot in your mind because you got your brothers next to you.
Yeah, got each other's back.
Yeah, if you didn't I mean, it's if you're over there on your own, it's a different story. But you feel like you've got your security blanket with you. You know.
Yeah, nice. Yep. Wow, crazy, man. This one. What is this?
That's a HK. It's like a section marksman rifle, sort of like a smaller sniper. It can be used as a sniper rifle, but it's not really. So it's just a marksman rifle. And we were just at the range in Afghanistan. We had like a free day, or some of us had a free day, and the boss came down and said, "We got X amount of ammo. You got to go shoot it."
Wow, just get rid of it.
Yeah, get rid of it basically. So
Wow.
we were just at the range, just mucking around.
Yeah,
But
wow.
so we had to drive to get there. So that wasn't near our base. We had
Yep.
to do a mission to get there. You can't
Yep.
just leave
Okay,
and
yep.
people don't know where you are, and there's no plan of attack. So we had to drive to an Afghan base, and they had a little range there, and we just shot away and threw some
Grenades.
smoke and whatnot.
Boom.
And yeah, just had some fun, and off we go. Actually,
Is that snow?
that's snow. Yeah,
So where's this?
that's in Afghanistan too. But
Okay, yeah.
it did snow when I was there. Not as much as I'd hoped. I hope because I'd never seen snow up until that day. So I couldn't wait for it to snow. It actually is freezing in
Yeah, of
Afghanistan.
course.
It's freezing
Wow.
cold.
Okay.
But yeah, it didn't snow. It didn't snow as much as I'd like, but it did snow, and
Yeah.
it was beautiful. The countryside's beautiful in Afghanistan.
Okay. Okay.
If it wasn't ruined by the people there, it's actually beautiful countryside. The mountains, and especially when it's snowing. Like I remember taking it in a lot. I would look around because Kabul is like in a little gully, like a valley. There's mountains all the way around. It's kind of. I remember at the start it was kind of scary. You have all these thoughts like, oh, is there anyone up on them? Is the Taliban up there? And you have these thoughts, but it is beautiful. Look
Wow.
around and you're in this valley of just like snow and mountains and stuff.
Wow.
It's cool.
So when did you know you've had enough and you discharged?
You
were done with it?
way before Afghanistan, but I didn't want to leave without having that experience, and it's like training for a boxing fight and never having the fight basically. So I did it. 6 years. I was 6 years in the infantry, like training. So I was like, I just want to go. I want to go experience this war.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did it. And that gave me the avenue to get out as well because I had some money in my pocket and I ticked off the bucket list. Yep, that's good. So I actually put my discharge in when I was there.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
It's a long process to get out, but I started it when I was there.
Nice.
And funny story, and I still talk to this guy to this day. My boss at the time, he marched me up to his office. So I was doing the discharge and he has to sign off on it. And he said, "Frosty, mate, what are you going to do when you leave?" And I said, I'm going to be a pro boxer. I'm going to be the champ.
Yeah.
And that was my answer. And he's like, "What do you mean? What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to be a pro boxer and I'll make a living doing that." And he's like, "Mate, are you sure you want to do that? You don't just want to go do reserves and you got something just to have the foot in the door and have some money?" I said, "Nah, I'm full tilt on this. I'm going 100%, which is what I did. And he brings it up to me this day. He goes, "Mate, I still remember that conversation where I marched and I'm standing there at attention." And he's like, into me, "Mate, don't do it. Don't, this is risky. What are you doing? You're giving away your whole army life and secure career." And I just gave him that answer. I'm like, I'm going to be the champ.
I love it.
It's
And
cool.
he's seen all of this?
Yeah. He comes to my fights. He follows me. He loves it.
Nice. It's a cool
I've
story.
trained his son and everything. Yeah, he's cool. He's good.
Wow. And I love that kind of stuff because you've just put your mind to something and you've knuckled down and you achieve it.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah. So, man, and like we were having this conversation before, but this fight life will end soon, and the best thing is to really collect memories, make friends, collect experiences as well. What do you think? What do you think's that next part?
I think about it. A lot. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Not there yet.
I'm not quite there. I've still got things to achieve. But I know the time will come, and it's coming soon, just because of age. But I don't have a clear vision yet. I do have a lot of pondering thoughts, and maybe this, maybe that, but nothing's set in stone yet. But we'll see. I can't. I still have to be 100% committed to what I'm doing. Otherwise, my next fight's going to be a disaster. And that's a big lesson I've already learnt.
Yep.
If I'm not
and
100%.
I think you'll know, same as me, you'll know when it's time to discharge the boxing career.
Yeah.
You'll know when it's time.
Yeah.
And right now it's not time.
It's funny because it's almost like I had a little epiphany when I knew what I was going to do and become a boxer. It was almost like an overnight thing. I remember kind of waking up and going, oh shit, I know what I'm going to do, and I know what I want to do. But I haven't had that feeling yet. I'm still committed to boxing, and I haven't had that epiphany feeling, you know. So we'll see.
When's the next fight? Do you know? Any talks?
I don't know. There is talks, but that's all it is at the moment. It's talks. We're trying to figure out who, where, when. I'm not exactly sure, but it will be this year.
Well, look, you know, now that Eddie Hearn's back in, I've seen Angelo, you know, got his ins with Eddie Hearn, and let's see what happens. So Australian boxing is getting up there. It's looking bright.
There's heaps of names to pick from as well in our division. There's heaps, so we'll see. We'll see.
Nice. Until then, we'll keep sparring and we'll keep, you know, and you know, this is something I'll bring it up on the podcast. You know, there was a time where we didn't spar for a while, even with Liam too. What do you think that was?
Yeah, was it?
Do you feel there's a rivalry or something?
Yeah. We had like egos or rivalry between us, but all four of us.
Yeah.
Do you think it was something like that? We just, not that we didn't get along. It was just that we had this competitive, like it was something like that.
Us versus you two. You know? It was like this weird thing.
It was always, But I remember it got kind of to a point where we had to talk about it and take a step back. Go, no, we got to
work together.
We got to work together. This isn't working like this. But it's good now, and people have asked me how Wilson is and how you are and stuff since I've sparred you guys lately, and I always say it's that you guys are the best I've ever seen you. And
nice.
Yeah, it's if Wilson keeps his head on his shoulders like he has now, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Yep. Do you think him and I are two completely different styles?
Yes.
And you there's like challenges with both?
Yeah, it's completely different. Your style is a hard puzzle. It's a hard puzzle, which is why, you know, when I seen you fight Dana, you didn't fight like that. You didn't fight the way that I've sparred you and I've seen you. You're like a very elusive, hard to hit. It's funny because we both have that Bruce Lee background, love, and you kind of do that. You kind of flow around a little bit like water, and you're hard to hit.
Nice.
You know, it's good, and you're completely different to Wilson. But yeah.
Yeah, nice. And look, you know, we've got plenty more work to do, and I think whatever weird thing that was there, it's gone.
It is
squashed.
Gone, yeah.
And we all have to work together now, and there's life.
I said that to Alfie, as soon as you guys left the gym that day, or when Liam left the gym that day. I said, man, this is like, that was the best thing I've ever, you know, that was the best sparring ever. Like, hopefully he's like that all the time. We're good. So it was good. Yeah.
Nah, for sure, man. And bro, thanks for coming on.
All good. Thanks.
And we'll have you on again. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Thanks for having
me. And have Alfie come on, and you know, we'll have a different chat another time. And this is the cool thing about this podcast, because there's always going to be stuff happening. You can have a big fight later on. We can talk about that. There's always going to be stuff coming on. So, you know, I appreciate all the work that we've had. And again, you've had no real crazy amateur background, but I'm still trying to figure out the puzzle with you. So, you know,
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I love this show, and I hope it goes good.
Nah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I knew I was going to have you on there. So yeah, you're the man, the Iceman Frost. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's go. Let's go.